astronaut, and how do you apply? And what you just talked about, how the requirements are what they are, and go on USA Jobs to .gov to look it up, and it's very much that way. It's such an interesting opportunity that you just so happen to draw the best in the country to that, and it's really incredible to see the kind of people that get selected, and to see the folks that are on the Artemis crew. Um, I mean, it's very. Soon. I mean, hopefully we get to a point where more folks like me and Haley and Cy and Jared can, that'll be more normal. But I tell you what, going to the space station and like they said, for 30 days or more, it takes a lot of intention to do that.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, I feel like even with the amount of training that y'all did for I4, like, it must have even been accelerated on that scale compared to the traditional path to orbit, as far as the amount of training you have to go through.
Well, it was definitely condensed and packed in there, but I don't think we shortened much of anything. It was still pretty intense. It's just all of it all at once. So, yeah, it's something else to do, and like you do have to. I'm sorry about that, but you do have to plan for it, and it's not something everybody can do. Where you can just take 2 or 3 months off of your job to go do this thing. You have to really think about who's going to watch the kids, who's going to how are you going to get back to your job? Are they going to let you go? I mean, that kind of thing. It's something you really got to think about and take with a bit of like I said before, a bit of intention, and um, have a good support system around you. And so I was fortunate enough to have that, and really glad it could happen. But I'm going to have to leave the group, guys. It's been really fun seeing you guys. I will let me jump on again if I see it on here again sometime.
See you, Hanks.
See you later, Chris.
Thanks for stopping by.
I gotta go too. I got homework I gotta do, so I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yeah, anyone here is welcome to request, and we can rotate in through speakers and all that. So it's cool to hear from folks.
Hey Matt, how'd your sprinkler valves work out?
Say again, Arsenio.
How'd your sprinkler valves work out?
I pulled the plug on it. I feel really old. I'll catch everybody up on what Arsenio was asking about in a second. I feel really old when somebody bails and says they have to go do homework. It makes me feel really old, or that I need to go back to school. I also felt really old. So long story short, I was looking to make a compressed air candy cannon for Halloween. And I had a bunch of old CO2 tanks from paintball guns lying around. And so I wanted to build a candy cannon I was going to put on top of a cart I was going to have in my neighborhood to shoot candy into the air for kids and put them on parachutes. I'm a nerd. I like to build crazy things. I have a remote control pumpkin that's, I don't know, maybe a half meter tall that drives around the neighborhood on Halloween. And I went to go refill the CO2 tanks, and I found out paintball players don't use CO2 tanks now. They use high pressure air, and it was too late. And the other part of it is I wasn't completely comfortable with the safety of my design yet. I was comfortable being around it, but I didn't want to be near kids unless it was completely safe. I had built some safety tolerances in, but that's a long answer to you, Arsenio.
Understandable. About as well what I was expecting. It's like, you're kind of down to the wire there.
Yeah, can I say I appreciate that there's someone else here who's done a remote controlled pumpkin.
I'm glad to hear there are others. It was kind of fun. It's kind of a neighborhood hit to drive it around at Halloween and stalk kids. I put a longer range antenna on it, and it's hilarious to watch people's interactions. I drive it up to doorsteps, and just like all the trick-or-treaters, and it goes over, over the grass and over through the sidewalks, and I just drive it up to doorsteps just like a trick-or-treater.
Nice. Yeah, ours it was actually a while. Like, it wasn't this year. It was heck, probably 8 or 10 years ago. Some buddies and I, for our college Halloween pumpkin club contest thing, and yeah, we did a little, or the robot club. So did a remote controlled pumpkin that could drive around, and it was split in half, so it had a linear actuator to open and close the mouth, so to say, and then a servo-loaded little spring launcher thing that we'd stuff with pumpkin guts, and so you'd trigger that, and it'd shoot out pumpkin guts out of the mouth.
You've motivated me. I need to upgrade mine. Mine just goes fast. It drives around. That's it.
There you go. Yeah. Time for them upgrades.
Hey, you see the Firefly Aerospace had like a pumpkin carving contest with their employees, and they were absolutely wonderful. I had a buddy who did like a lunar lander pumpkin, and then there was some other employees that did a turbo pumpkin by putting like 3 pumpkins together to like make a mock turbo pump.
The
Yeah,
best
they
part
had
of
a-
that.
Wow.
They had a great jack-o'-lantern exhibit, but one of the fires went out in one of them a little bit after they started. Anyone? Sorry, it was just too.
Is there pictures of this
Gross.
somewhere?
Yeah, so someone was tweeting him. I think Firefly may have retweeted it, but the best part of that to me is that they were using like actual Reaver hardware in it. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Wait a
Hot
minute.
swap it for
Wait
the
a
next
minute.
engine.
Does that mean that pumpkin would be classed as ITAR due to?
I think it may have technically been an ITAR pumpkin.
Because remember, I do know for a fact the U.S. munitions list does not have exemptions for baked goods, so I think it doesn't have exemptions for vegetables either.
What does an ITAR baked good include?
That's sources and methods, which are themselves also ITAR.
That's very interesting. I really want to see an ITAR recipe sometime. You're gonna have to dig one of those up one day.
What is the max SKU of a pumpkin, though?
Yeah, it'll be the pumpkin tart.
Oh, that's bad.
Boo!
I think you also need to know the age of the pumpkin to know what pressures it can handle. Are we talking fresh pumpkin or kind of like a week after Halloween pumpkin?
Plot that. Like, what's the thrust chamber max pressure as a function of time for pumpkin?
What happens if you make a pumpkin hypersonic?
It's like if I microwave my brownie in the microwave at the VAB, does that make my brownie ITAR now?
No.
And as for hypersonic, I don't know. I mean, its sort of spherical shape might lend it some favors.
Can we book some time on the test tracks at who is it? What's that Air Force base out in the middle of? I think it's Utah that has the hypersonic test track. No, it's New Mexico. New Mexico has the Mach 20 max speed limit.
That's White Sands.
Yeah, it's Wismar. Wismar's got that test track that we can probably get some time on. Just as a treat, put a pumpkin on it.
This is reminding me. I think Charlie Garcia at one point was tweeting about mil-spec brownies.
That's so Charlie.
And that's
Sounds like there's some
simply why I
science to
went
be
with
done
the brownie reference.
Yeah, John, I don't think anybody got your Reaver joke earlier, but I just wanted to let you know, come back around to it and say I appreciated it.
Yeah.
John, I missed that. What'd you say?
It had its moment.
Yeah, it's all good.
Admittedly,
Basically,
it took me a
gotta fix
second.
engines.
Admittedly, it took me a second, but once I got it, I was like, oh, that's the most Kraus joke on the planet.
Wait, did Kraus stack his dad joke tree early too?
Were you just dunking on the host at this point?
Oh man.
I mean, he walked into it. He hosted it without a verification mark.
I knew it. I knew the first thing you would say.
Oh no!
I love it. I love it. He's coming out of the gate screaming.
Yeah, I'm new to this whole Twitter space thing. Took me 20 minutes to figure out what the heck I was doing, but what's up?
Howdy, hey.
This is a verified man right here, Thomas Burghardt of NASASpaceflight. Freshly minted check mark very
Yeah.
shiny, looks shinier than any I've seen today.
I admit that the first thing that I did when I got the notification was text Kraus. So
He did.
but you know, Kraus will get his in good time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know what else I have to do at this point. We'll see.
It seems like there's like no rhyme or reason to it, and it's terrible.
At this point, I kind of feel like it's just Oprah style. You get a check mark, and you get a check mark, and you get a check mark.
There's definitely an element of that for sure.
Yeah, you can blog for anything with a name, and they'll verify you. It seems so.
John, if NSF needs to hire you for a day, so
It's
that
a
you can
it's
get
a little
verified,
bit
we got you.
Yeah, we may have to do it at this
a
point.
little bit iffy though. Like there's some people who absolutely should be verified and meet all the requirements, and it's like, oh, nope.
Oh hell, wasn't like Chris Sembroski that was just up here, like wasn't verified for like weeks
The
until
whole
after
Inspiration4
Oh,
crew
boy.
was going to be the first
Speaking-
all unverified trip to space.
Well, actually,
Since
this would be a
before
great
Twitter, I
time
guess.
to tell the story. So, on launch day, so I now basically run the Inspiration4 account, but before then I merely had access to it and did some of the posting before the launch. And on launch day, I noticed that Jack, the CEO of Twitter, followed I4, and based off like how far down it was, I figured it was pretty recent because like Twitter doesn't give timestamps in the notification panel. So I messaged him and I'm like, "Hey, thanks for following. Hope you enjoy the launch tonight." Blah blah blah. Our superstar astronaut crew, or whatever I said to try to make it seem exciting. In the moment, I'm like, I have been struggling with verification for months because like a couple of them have applied, they didn't get it. And I'm like, could you verify them before the launch night? And he's like, yeah, you got it. And then I think I said something like, oh, by the way, I've been struggling with it too. You've retweeted my work before. And I sent him a picture of like where he retweeted me a couple of years ago. And he's like, I'll look into it. And then nothing ever happened.
Oh no.
So like I literally was in the Twitter CEO's DMs about it. And also I did wait to make sure that the I4 crew actually did get verified because I didn't want to like upset him and then ruin it for the four of them.
Good move.
So I made the requests like very regimented and different. So I'm glad I at least got the crew verified before they strapped in the Dragon and went to space. But I'm still a holdout for mine.
You'll get there. It'll happen.
You
I've,
did all right.
When,
though.
you know, when you go to space yourself, you'll get
Wait,
You got them.
I slightly
that's what I was about to say.
contemplated
We gotta get Kraus into space first.
seeing if I could get verified before John. I've thought about it, like if I really worked hard, could I get it before John?
I think it depends on whether they've written articles about you or not. So I think launching a pumpkin into space would be a good way to get verified in that regard.
Rainbow Fish, get on that.
I'm looking through the people that are listening in and stuff. I'm seeing some familiar faces. I feel like there are some names that I just see pop up in my notifications and stuff over and over again. And I learned to like recognize their profile pictures.
Same. That's why I haven't changed my profile picture in so long because I know how much I rely on recognizing other people's visuals that I haven't changed mine.
Hilariously, I have a picture that I'm like, I'm gonna make this my next profile picture, and I was going to do it. The picture is myself in the clean room with Lucy. The problem is,
You look
shortly
like everyone
after
else.
launch, the whole but also the whole solar panel thing came out, and I'm like, if for some reason something happens to Lucy that's more significant than the solar panel didn't completely deploy, I don't want my profile picture to be me next to this spacecraft that like malfunctioned in some way. So I'm just gonna hold off for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the picture I have now is from a GPS launch that got delayed like weeks, and so I took that picture weeks before it actually happened, and I didn't post it until it actually launched.
I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
Was that the great GPS 3 Christmas debacle where it just kept scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing?
I believe that was the one. Yes.
Are you sure? This isn't the more recent, like October last year, that scrubbed due to like the tanking issue or something.
Let me find it. I'm in
Scrubtober.
front of my computer. I can tell you exactly which launch it was.
Because both of those GPS missions had multiple scrubs.
Then maybe it was the other one. Let's see. Well, it's not SVO2, considering that was a Delta. I know, Mile.
Yeah, which makes it funny because that Delta didn't it go like first try, which is unheard of for
a
Delta.
witchcraft, of course.
They had a little bit of time, luckily.
This was SVO4, which was in October of this year.
No,
Scrubtober.
It launched in November, but your photo would have been in
Yeah.
October.
So yeah, so it was not the Christmas one, but
It's funny you said you recognize people with notifications. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this feature, but you can allow Twitter to only notify you when people that you follow interact with you. So, for example, I'll just use Thomas and Josh. If Thomas and Josh both like a tweet of mine, but I only follow Thomas, then I only see Thomas's like in my panel. I'll say it's great for mental health and it's great for not getting a lot of notifications because I don't follow that many people. And I basically can cull it down to only hear from people I want to hear from, which is pretty great in today's age on the internet.
Oh, that hurts.
It was an example. It was a pure
you're good,
example.
No, you're good.
Although it is accurate, but it was purely an example.
John's got me beat by a fair bit on the followers numbers, so he's definitely getting more notifications than I do. I still have the notifications on for anyone. I don't get like push notifications from likes or anything, but if you reply to one of my tweets, I'll get a notification about it. I, for the most part, just skim read them when I have them. It's still somewhat manageable in that sense. I'm not doing the whole verified thing. That seems just ridiculous, but I haven't felt the need to go down that route yet. I still like seeing other people's thoughts because sometimes there's like an account that's just a casual fan or something of spaceflight in some way, and they make a comment that's like really interesting, and I'll totally either reply to that or I'll retweet, like continue that conversation. So it's not always only the people I follow, which I also think I try to limit who I follow. Most of the people I follow are people that I expect to get news from or something like that, versus people that I value hearing from them, because that's a lot more people. So I haven't gone that route yet.
That's what the burner account's for.
My solution for missing out on some stuff is a couple times a day you can just search your own @ and if you go to new, it will show you tweets where you're mentioned. So I catch stuff there. But in terms of being bothered, I have it tailored.
The nice thing is you can also set it to ignore retweets. So if you want to see what the person posts, but not necessarily what they retweet, you can mute retweet notifications, which is nice because my girlfriend retweets a lot for her small business. So I want to support her, but I don't need 50 retweet notifications a day.
Right.
Amazing.
Another thing I typically do is I switch off like notifications and just retweet notifications.
Like notifications are just not a thing you need.
It's all too much noise and it's way too busy.
What's the thought on? Because all right, I'm gonna take over John's space and just talk about what the best way to be a space journalist on Twitter is at this point.
Yeah.
Please take over.
If there's a live event going on, so say there's a launch, and if we're not on air necessarily or something, so we're just following it on the webcast, I'm following it on Twitter. Do people find the live tweets of like a liftoff tweet, a stage separation tweet, a SECO tweet, and then a stage 2 reignition tweet? Like normally, if I'm following a launch that we're not webcasting ourselves, I put out those kind of tweets as long as it's a somewhat important launch. Does that get annoying though? Is that too many tweets?
I tend to really like those because it means like if I'm not actively watching a launch, I can still feel like I'm following along.
That's the idea. Is if you're not able to watch the webcast, but you still want to know that certain milestones have been hit. That's kind of the idea. Like I'm not going to tweet T+1 minute, but I'll tweet at milestones along the ascent profile.
There was once though where I was in the middle of a debate in high school, and my phone started exploding with launch tweets.
I think people like the threads.
No,
That's the other thing, you
no,
can
no,
do it
no!
in a
Don't do a
thread.
thread. Don't do a thread because
Why no threads?
because it like shows the first one every time. So every
The
time you
last one.
tweet, it'll show like the first one and then the last two or three. And someone did this recently. Oh, there's a couple of people that do it a lot. And like every time you want to add one tweet, it now shows like 4 tweets from you at the top of my feed every time. And I
Yeah,
find
that's
that
true.
to be not something that I enjoy seeing.
I think the only use of threads that I use is if I'm making a post that just is legitimately too much content for a single tweet, but it will be one thread that all gets posted at once, and then that's it. I don't keep bumping it or anything. I also try to limit that because the whole point of Twitter is short things. But every once in a while, there's enough content that it's a 2 or 3 tweet thread.
I think the only time I've done the 2 or 3 tweet thread, 2 or 3 tweet thread is when I can't talk tonight. Apparently, it's like a longer thought, and it's all specific to that one. Where it's like, okay, this is a longer statement, et cetera, et cetera.
Threads are also good for like long-term projects for updates instead of individual tweet. Each time you can keep it all in one space.
Yeah, if you're only bumping it once a week, once a month, or something like that, that's probably. But still, you are going to end up with that whole long thread that gets bumped to the top of people's feeds.
Back on the whole live tweeting launches, one thing I'll say is I really personally appreciate knowing pre-launch things like weather updates and things like that. That's actually something that I absolutely love to see, is because then I get to know like, okay, like, are we looking like we're gonna scrub? Are we looking like it's gonna be a go? Do I need to have my phone out, or am I safer to maybe put it in my pocket?
Yeah, that makes sense. Those tweets are especially good when you're like in a place like Wallops, like the ferry docks there, where there's like absolutely this garbage service and you can't get a live stream up.
Oh my god, Wallops ferry docks are pain. So much pain.
You know, it's actually funny. I've been to Wallops for a launch once. It was NG16, I believe, which I believe was the most recent one. And I was at the press site. It was the only time I've been to Wallops for a launch, finally. And Wallops is a weird viewing location. It's kind of oddly superior in some ways to the other spaceports. You get a lot closer. And Antares, the sound of Antares still packs a punch. That was a cool experience.
I've been to 9 launches, 8 of which have been out of Wallops. And the differences between the Antares, like the 210s, the 230s, and then like the different Minotaurs is really fascinating.
Minotaurs are surprisingly loud for how.
Did no one like my womp?
What was that your?
Oh yeah, no. I call
making the womp.
Yeah, I call that the flame trench part because it's like
No. That's from the RD-181 specifically, right?
Yeah, it's like
that's not a flame trench acoustics thing. That's like the engine, right?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I'll ask the engine crew next time I'm out there.
I argue it's the.
I might have someone that could.
I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there that technically it's an RD-191, but anyway.
Wait, is it 191?
But the 180 is what's on Atlas, and they're very similar. But Atlas does the same thing. It's an engine sound thing.
It's the closest we
it
get
is
to
191.
the old Gemini days with the whoop of the ignition of the turbo pumps and everything.
I think I've said 181 in captions on accident. Hold on, let's do Twitter search John Kraus photos RD 181.
I know I called it 181. I always thought it was the 181.
No, my favorite thing about Wallops is it's like the sleepiest spaceport. There's nothing telling you about it. None of the tourist trap signs. You're driving out there. It's like, oh yeah, tourist trap, tourist trap, tourist trap. Faded sign.
It's sketchy going out to ferry docks because it's in the middle of nowhere, and then you just like turn a corner and then
spaceship.
You see everything there.
Oh man,
you know what, John? I owe you an apology. So
it is 181.
I'm gonna blame this on.
No, you're gonna blame it on you
naming
being wrong. You're gonna blame it on you being wrong.
The 181 is technically a variant of the 191. Go ahead and to explain to me why that makes sense. But
Russia.
so you are correct. 181 is the actual more specific answer.
I think
no, it's not the more specific one. It's the right one. That's funny. That's really funny. I looked it up and I saw like tweets of mine where it was 181. I'm like, have I been getting this wrong the whole time? That's pretty.
No,
funny.
I can verify that it's the 181.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't. It's this weird variant. They just took a 191 and cut it in half.
That's
Right.
funny. I thought the verified badge came with like a degree of accuracy in your public statements.
John, it's
like-
almost like the badge means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Rocket Lab to get their LC2 set up at Wallops because I'm in Northern Virginia, so that I need like a reason to drive out there, and very much so looking forward to that.
Yeah, if
I'm
there's
heading
any
out there
NASA
for that
folks in
one.
here, and you want to help them verify their AFTS, that'd be great.
Yeah,
So-
looking forward to that.
Can I ask, do you guys call it Gemini or Gemini? Because I've heard both.
It's 100% Gemini, and if you think otherwise, I welcome you to log off twitter.com tonight. Thank you.
Oh no, I don't think
Straight
either way.
jail.
I go exactly the way that Gus called it. It's Gemini.
You know those machines that are in malls that kids ride and stuff? I wish they would make
What?
one of those. I wish they would make one of those like a space launch simulator, one that just like vibrates and plays a lot of sound. That feels like you're inside a capsule. It would probably terrify a lot of the kids in the mall, but it would be cool for the adults.
Yeah, like something like down at Kennedy.
Yeah, like a shaker table with a seat on it, basically.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I'd be scared to go in a Russian one, but I might try the SpaceX one.
They have something kind of like that at Disney World. There's the like Mars mission thing where there's the centrifuge and it's kind of like a launch.
I'm pretty sure you can also just take the shocks off of an old car and drive down a gravel road, and you'll get pretty close to that vibration.
Caroline, where did you say that was?
At Disney World in Florida. Yeah.
I have not been there in a long time. I was going to say since I was like 5, and then Thomas was going to say that was 5 years ago. And I was going to be like, yes, you're right. But anyway, it's been a long time since I've done that. It's funny, Baljer, that you mentioned the gravel road because people who have flown on Falcon have compared the second stage experience to like driving on a gravel road in a pickup truck. So, yeah.
I grew up on a farm that had 2 quarter-mile gravel roads, so I know the experience intimately and how horrible it can get.
You're basically an astronaut.
Dude, you've been propelled to orbit by a Falcon 9 second stage. Congrats. That's literally it.
Perfect. NASA, take my application.
Go check at usajobs.gov. We can't take it.
Wait.
What's the pay grade for astronaut? Is it like what GS is
Not high enough.
Here's the real question. Does that mean I can get verified since I've technically experienced a rocket launch?
This Twitter space is quickly becoming how to get verified.
You're behind. You're in the line behind Kraus. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm on the doorstep with that one, so the line starts behind me.
The day you actually do get verified, we have to throw a party or something because the amount of crap that you've gotten from it.
I will say there's a few people that have seen it, but I have an incredible meme. It's a picture of me that I'm gonna post if I ever get verified, and I mean it's not actually gonna break the internet, but I think it might marginally damage space Twitter for about half an hour. It's pretty funny, and I'm generally not like too cocky about like memes I make being funny, but this one's pretty funny.
Yeah, you're definitely right though about noticing people by their profile pictures because like I can definitely tell people that have had the same one for a while scrolling through spaces, just real quick name recognition.
Yeah, I want to change mine pretty bad. I think I need to get a good picture though first.
Maybe that's how you'll get verified. You gotta just submit another application with a different profile picture, and then be like,
Well-
"Oh, who's this?"
Well, it's funny. I can't submit an application because the one that I sent in over 3 months ago is still pending. Like, there's no way to retract that application. There's no way to bump it. There's no way to send in another one. I'm just in limbo with no communication from Twitter about it.
Have you tried
it's kinda
rolling up
crazy.
to Twitter and holding up a sign that says "Verify John Kraus"?
No, but that'd be pretty great. Next time I'm in the Bay Area, I might have to do that.
And then post a picture of it just for extra laughs.
What's one of the tests that they do where you have to remember like 10 numbers and recite them backwards while you're doing a task? I forgot that one.
Like a DUI stop.
The DUI.
I don't know those tests.
I'm not even like trying to be funny. I'm like, isn't that like a thing they do? They make you like say the alphabet or numbers backwards or something.
Yeah, they'll just be like 420691337 or something like that, and you have to say it all backwards.
I would fail that sober.
Yeah.
I also would probably
Yeah.
fail that sober. I am not great with numbers in my head.
If there's anyone in the spaces that can recite the alphabet backwards without reading off of something, and you can honestly do this, I would love for you to request to speak and see if it can be done. And if you cheat, I'm going to be really disappointed in you personally.
It's gonna be the new
mad,
verified.
they'll just be disappointed.
Someone's gonna request him to just look at the alphabet and read it backwards, probably.
Yeah, that's what
Pretty easy to cheat.
I would be disappointed.
Scout's honor, and I do have Eagle Scout in my bio, so you can believe this. It's ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBA.
Yeah,
How did they make a song out of some combination of those letters, man?
How are you not verified yet?
I am
Did you hear-
verified in the eyes of the Lord and the federal government, and that's all I need.
LOL. Jesus. My wife's a elementary school teacher. They actually changed how the ABCs are because they don't do LMNOP anymore. They actually like state every letter.
Wait, the alphabet song is different from what it
is
used
different.
to be?
Yeah,
What?
It is different. They got rid of LMNOP. It's yeah.
Wait,
Those are the kind of headlines that I need
what do
to
you mean they
see
got
in my
rid of it?
Twitter feed.
Like they say.
They're bad letters. They're gone now.
LMNOP. Like they don't.
So
they
the
don't-
letters still
Not
exist.
Lima,
They just
not Mike,
they-
no November.
What?
Oh Lord, yeah, no, they just. I'll have to find something and tweet it out because I'm not comfortable singing the ABCs at 10 p.m. in a room with 80 people.
Hey,
So
you're
instead
cool.
of kind of slurring it all together, they want you to put distinct spaces between each letter.
Yes,
Um,
it's good for phonics.
That's right. Anyway, we're getting a good rotation of people in here. I just want to throw it out there. We welcome a diverse group of speakers, so anyone who wants to chime in at all, you're welcome to. Even if you feel a little nervous, you're welcome to hop up on this little stage that we've made here, as if this is the world's largest platform. But anyway.
Well, I'm glad you said it just now.
And I will say, I heard earlier, I think they kind of cap you at a certain number of speakers, so I may rotate in speakers as needed. So if you get booted, if you don't talk for a bit, don't take it personally, but just kind of rotating folks. So I don't really have any aim for where this is going. So yeah.
You did mention the Bay Area. There's some Bay Area related space things that
Yeah.
are happening.
What could be happening in the Bay Area, Thomas? Do you have any idea?
Well, yeah, I guess it's not technically happening in the Bay Area per se, but I hear a certain small sat launch company has a launch window that opens on the 8th.
Yeah, Twitter's launching small sat rockets now, right?
Oh yeah, that must be what that is.
Yeah,
it's
so it
just
sounds
a
like
rocket. The payload fairing guard is just a blue check mark.
that's funny. I guess
Oh,
I'll have to
man,
watch
that's
on it.
pretty
Anyway, so Astra's next window opens on the 8th. That's pretty exciting. Another attempt at launching to orbit for the young small satellite launch company.
Are they going to remember
so
to
that-
turn off the Eurobeat this time?
The what?
Are they going to
I
turn off
hope
the
this is
Eurogate
one
so
that
it stops drifting?
Yeah, hoping for a little less drifting on the rocket this time for sure.
I hope
We
this
should
one doesn't
rename
go
the room.
sideways like the other one did.
Yeah, it needs to go sideways. It just has to get above the atmosphere first. Orbit is all about going sideways.
It's going sideways, going down at the same rate around a circle.
Yeah, you just gotta go sideways really fast.
Not as early, at least.
We should rename the room to the Long March Booster Room. Or
No, that's out of pocket, man. That's out of pocket.
The real rocket we're all kind of waiting for. Let's see when's Arca gonna launch their rocket.
Yo,
I think
the steam kettle.
No,
that's what we all really want to see.
That's a violation. We're not going there. We do have SLS coming up in what is in relative terms the near future. We have a media day here at the Cape on Friday, where the press will be granted access to the VAB to photograph the Artemis 1 hardware fully stacked. Regardless of your thoughts on the political and budget aspects of SLS, I think that's going to be a pretty exciting opportunity. Thomas, will you be there for that one?
I will not be for reasons that will become clear in the coming days, but
I understand. I don't know why I asked that.
But on that point, though, I think I've started to see this happen. We talked about they were starting to get the SLS stacked, and people obviously SLS as a program gets a fair amount of criticism. I think a lot of people, or we were saying ahead of time that a lot of people were going to get excited about SLS launches and the Artemis program overall when they saw that rocket fully stacked. And even though, it's been fully stacked when surrounded by platforms and umbilicals and VAB equipment, the imagery of the fully stacked rocket is now kind of there, and the closer they get to rollout, the more clear that will be. And I think we're already seeing some people kind of turning their eyes towards it and paying a little closer attention and getting a little excited just at that visual. Something special about a crew-rated or a soon-to-be crew-rated moon rocket ready to roll out of the VAB is something that's going to get people's attention.
Orange rocket, good.
Orange rocket is indeed good. Is this John? Am I allowed to plug the NASASpaceflight store, or is that something I'm not supposed to do?
I could not care less about what you plug in my
Shut
Twitter
up,
space.
Chill. Come on, get the grind set.
Someone plugged my print store on my behalf in a space earlier that wasn't mine. Was that you, Josh?
Yeah. I love
and I felt bad, so I was like, just go buy the Inspiration4 prints so the profits go to St. Jude. I don't want to profit off someone else's Twitter space.
I'll say I've been pretty excited about SLS, but the big thing that recently got me reignited, re-excited for it is watching the videos they put out of the disconnects of the umbilicals. Like, seeing that happen almost made it a bit more real for me, and I got amped again all about it.
The umbilical test videos was absolutely quality. It had the same kind of energy as watching the Apollo 13 launch scene, and they have those shots of the umbilicals falling away. It was that. That's all.
That exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing to see. 100%.
I'm hyped for the secondary payloads on Artemis 1 as well. Like Lunar Flashlight and some of the other CubeSats that we're finally going to have more payloads in orbit around the moon.
Yeah, that is also cool, although that brings me to one question that I have. So there was supposed to be, 13 CubeSats on Artemis 1, and there are now only 11 because the other 2 weren't ready. And I just have this question of, if your ride to space is Artemis 1, how is your payload not ready when the rocket is? What sequence of events occurred to make that happen? I'm just a little confused.
What do you want to do?
They probably assumed it was just never going to be ready.
What do you want to drink?
It kind of goes back to the principle that at least I heard a story about.
What's going on?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, I would like 2 tacos and a large drink.
Lemonade.
What?
That's all.
Oh my God, she's in a drive-through.
Yeah, I'd like to try this, please.
Are you in a drive-through?
Yeah, sorry.
She knows she's like.
That makes me more comfortable to
I
speak
don't.
now.
Oh,
I
is
would-
my mic on?
Yeah, I don't have an
Yep.
issue with this. I find it kind of entertaining, but it's quite honestly amazing.
Oh yeah, we're at Cane's.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Raising
respect.
Cane's quality
Respect.
chicken. Fully
Yeah, we
endorsed.
just got the 3-finger combo. Would you like to speak to the? Yes.
Does the speaker have anything to contribute about Artemis 1?
Artemis 1's happening in the back of the Raising Cane's parking lot? This is breaking news.
This is a fever dream. This isn't real. I can't believe this is happening.
John, what did you envision when this space was created?
I don't know, but I certainly didn't expect it to be this.
By
think
the way,
we had Elon listening into a clubhouse once, like 6 months
That's-
ago.
yeah,
I don't know
I
if anyone
remember
remembers that. We did a silent clubhouse. So we would we would have like 100 people in this room. We would sit silent for 10 minutes, and every 10 minutes we would unmute it for like a minute, and we would just scream. It would become chaos for 60 seconds. And we would during this time trust everyone to mute themselves for 10 minutes, and for the most part it worked. And I put out a tweet in the middle of one of these revolutions, and I said, "At Elon, we are sitting in silence. No one is talking. Come join us." And he responded with the laughing emoji. I don't think he actually joined, but it got people joining thinking he was there, and it it devolved into chaos.
Oh man,
I
John,
think that
my
is the
favorite
one and
thing-
only time I've actually been in a clubhouse thing, and I don't think I've actually used Clubhouse since that night. That was the time.
Did Spaces kill Clubhouse?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. Yes.
Like literally, like they don't exist anymore? Or
No,
they
no,
just
no.
use
Sorry,
them and it's just
Clubhouse
slow?
is doing great.
But
I
There's
see.
a good space community on Clubhouse. I think a couple of us in this room are involved in that.
Is Clubhouse on Android yet, or is it still only iOS?
Yes, it's on Android.
Okay. That was the worst thing at the beginning. It's like, how hard is it to fork it over to Android?
It's not.
How hard is it to not use an Android?
iOS elitism.
Bruh.
John asking the real questions.
I mean, but you
I
see
have an
that new
iPad, but
Pixel
it'd be
though?
nice to use my phone.
Yeah, I see the new iPhone though.
I really like
Listen, John.
Pixel 6 where it's at.
And the walled garden not only is it a walled garden, there's like a cavern in the middle, and I'm buried in it.
Yeah, you're surrounded by a moat. You're never getting out.
I am so buried in Apple.
Wait, so
You make apple juice out of it then.
I liked Clubhouse until they added like the clips feature, and then I got a memo from the person that pays my bills saying not to go be talking about space stuff on there. But I've gotten green light on Twitter for some reason. But the craziest thing that ever happened on the space Clubhouse is I was in a flat earther room, like, you know, as one does, like just actually like talking with these people. And Jim Green, who is the chief scientist over at NASA, is like pretty active on Clubhouse. And so I was like talking to these people, like, "Oh, you don't know anything." I was like, "You know what? Let's bring NASA's chief scientist in here." So I pinged him, and like he ended up joining and started talking. Like that was a fever dream, just having flat earthers,
goodness.
like actually like flat earthers that like produce YouTube content, like having a conversation with Dr. Jim Green, and they like rejected that he actually was who he said he was. Like thought he was like an imposter sent to like steal their energy.
What?
Hopefully spaces doesn't devolve into like crypto, NFT, flat earth conspiracy rooms.
Oh, I'm sure it will. That's the nature of the internet.
Yeah, it was the biggest room, I think, that the club that Niston and I help run, the biggest room we ever did was called Elon Musk versus a raccoon, which was like just a joke title social room. But then that room blew up to be the biggest room we ever did, versus we normally do like actually scientific content. So that was funny.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats, and apparently my most popular room was another one called Elon Musk versus a raccoon, and that's No, it was would you turn your brain into an NFT, and that's because Lex Friedman showed up for some reason, and the room was supposed to be a joke, and I was like, okay, would you do that? Why? And then he laughed, and that was it.
Speaking of Clubhouse, I've been alerted by Mr. Chris Hanks Sembroski here that there's a Clubhouse on November 11th
Yeah,
at
that's
8 p.m.
with us.
Oh, that's with you.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crossover. Would you like to talk about it because it's your event?
Sure.
Go
So
for it.
the club Small Steps and Giant Leaps on Clubhouse on November 11th, we will be interviewing the Inspiration4 crew. So that's super exciting. We'll also be raising funds for St. Jude's. So make sure to tune in there. You can follow the club on Twitter at Steps Leaps.
What date?
November 11th.
Okay. Is Clubhouse free?
Yes, it is. And you don't need an invite anymore. You can just download the app.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't been speaking. I've been eating ramen noodle soup and drinking vodka lemonade. So
You are living my dream,
That's
my
the life.
friend.
So
yeah, sorry, and I'm also kind of nervous. So
No,
God, I thought you were like 12.
Oh my god. That's
I am
what
31 years old right now.
That's what the bartender said tonight when I ordered an old fashioned. He looked at me right in the eye and said, "Aren't you 12?"
No, unfortunately I'm 31. So just poor.
Well, don't be nervous, my friend. We are all just lost people. That's how we ended up in this Twitter Spaces.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I don't really know where this is going, and I feel like I'm gonna blink and it's gonna be 1 a.m. and this is still gonna be happening. We have another. Oh man, I can't do both of these things. Then one of them slips. You do both, and then there's times where you think you can do two things and they both conflict with something else. It's pretty crazy. I actually when they had that SLS press conference, I don't know, a week ago or something, where they announced like the kind of preliminary windows for Artemis 1.
Yep.
I plugged those into my calendar, and then I realized that there's a dentist appointment that is in like March 2021 or something that overlaps with one of those windows, and I'm already having anxiety about it because I know my teeth are going to be getting cleaned as like remote setup is in 2 hours or something. But for a launch like that, I would move something.
Attempt in March of 2022, I think you have nothing to worry about.
yeah, I think you're good to reschedule that dental appointment. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think I think I'll be good.
I wouldn't worry that much about it. If your dentist is cool, just say, hey, FYI, I kind of need to go set up cameras. And they'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I went to my dentist maybe 3 weeks ago, and I walk in, and I'm still kind of waking up in the morning, and I sit down, and out of the corner of my eye, there's this photo on the wall, and I do a triple take, and then I realize it's one of my pictures that I had no clue that they ordered. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then like I went and took a selfie with it.
Did you offer to sign it? Be like, hey, yeah, I'll sign it for you guys if you want.
No, I generally like don't. If asked,
ask your
would,
dentist to sign it.
That's funny. Hey, will you sign my picture that's up in your office?
I mean, the funniest thing I've done at my dentist is I brought one of my circuit boards I designed along, and I'm like, hey, doc, can I x-ray these here real quick? And she was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Calls over the x-ray tech, and we just spent like 20 minutes x-raying my circuit boards.
That's awesome. My dad's a dentist, so I've CAT scanned a bunch of stuff. It's so much fun.
Did you have to put like the thing they make you put in your mouth, like the backstop for the X-ray behind the circuit board?
That's not a backstop. That's the scintillation crystal that's bonded to a large scale CMOS. And then that reads basically the light coming off the scint crystal. It's a camera. Yeah,
it's literally just a camera sensor, basically.
Yeah, and it uses these really annoying proprietary drivers. But it's going to be hilarious when eventually, like down the line, when they look through my medical